Welcome to Jim Rohn Speech, the ultimate source for life-changing motivational insights from the legendary Jim Rohn, inspiring millions worldwide.
One night, after another disappointing sales week, I broke down in front of my wife and kids. Tears streaming down my face, I apologized profusely for not being able to provide for them the way I wanted. I had big dreams of building a better life. But my self-doubt and limiting beliefs were holding me back at every turn. As I sobbed on the living room floor that night, my 9-year-old son came over and put his little hand on my shoulder. "It's okay, Daddy," he said. "We still love you." Those simple words became the wake-up call I desperately needed. In that moment, I realized how harshly I was judging myself. My inner critic was screaming that I was a loser, a disappointment, someone who would never amount to anything. But my son's unconditional love showed me that I didn't have to buy into those negative thoughts. I could choose to apologize to myself, to forgive myself for my failures and shortcomings. And then instead of wallowing in self-pity, I could choose to take massive action towards turning my life around. That night marked the start of my personal comeback. Friends, every single one of us has faced setbacks, disappointments, and feelings of failure. We've made mistakes, missed opportunities, or fallen short of our goals. And all too often, our first instinct is to beat ourselves up over it. The inner critic comes roaring in, telling us we're not good enough, smart enough, talented enough to succeed. But what if we took a different approach? What if, instead of piling on the self-criticism, we chose to treat ourselves with compassion and love? To apologize for our mistakes, forgive ourselves, and then take decisive action to create the life we want. That's exactly what I did after my tear-stained floor epiphany that night in 1963. I looked myself in the mirror, stared my failures right in the face, and apologized. I'm sorry I let my fears and doubts hold me back for so long. I'm sorry I didn't believe in myself and my ability to turn my life around. But from this moment on, things are going to be different. With that personal apology and self-forgiveness, a massive weight was lifted off my shoulders. The shackles of self-criticism and negative self-talk were gone. I was free to start over, to pour every ounce of effort into making a comeback. And let me tell you, friends, that comeback didn't happen overnight. I had burned a lot of bridges and made more than my fair share of mistakes up to that point. Rebuilding trust and credibility was an uphill battle. There were plenty of times I wanted to quit, to just slink back to my old ways of self-pity, but I refused to give up on myself again. Anytime my inner voice tried to convince me I was a lost cause, I remembered my personal apology. I was doing this for me, prove to myself that I could change, that I could achieve anything I set my mind to once I got out of my own way. Every small win, every mini milestone was a reminder that my apology wasn't just empty words. It was a solemn vow to never abandon myself again, no matter how long the odds or how bumpy the road ahead. I treated that apology like a sacred oath that I couldn't break. And you know what happened next? My life started turning around in ways I never could have imagined that night on the floor. The business took off. The money started coming in. My relationships with my wife and kids blossomed in incredible ways, all because I apologized to myself and vowed to never give up on becoming the man I knew I could be. Now you might be thinking, sure, it's easy for someone as successful as you to say just apologize and forgive yourself. But you don't know the sorts of mistakes I've made, the ways I've really messed up my life over the years. Oh, friends, you'd be surprised. I've burned more bridges than a wildfire let loose in a lumber yard. I've made terrible decisions, blown huge opportunities, sabotaged myself at every turn through fear, doubt, and insecurity. I was as lost and hopeless as a person can get. But that's exactly why forgiving yourself, making that personal apology, is so powerful and life-changing. It doesn't matter how badly you've messed up in the past. Those mistakes don't define you unless you allow them to. When you apologize to yourself and let go of that self-criticism, you get to start fresh with a clean slate. So let me ask you, what's holding you back right now? What dreams and ambitions have you shelved because you don't think you're good enough, smart enough, talented enough? What's your excuse for playing small, for not going all in on designing your life exactly the way you want it? I'm here to tell you that every single one of those reasons is absolute nonsense. They're just flimsy lies you've been telling yourself to avoid taking responsibility for your life. Those fears of failure or rejection or not being enough are simply stories you've chosen to buy into. But today, right here in this room, you get to rewrite that story. You get to apologize to yourself for all the years of self-doubt and negativity, to wipe that slate clean and start pursuing your passions and callings with reckless abandon. Some of you might be thinking, sure, that all sounds nice, but my situation is really messed up right now. I'm so deep in a hole, I'll never be able to dig my way out. Let me tell you a little story to show you how powerful that personal apology can be. Back in the late 1960s, a young man named Kyle attended one of my talks. This was a few years after my big breakdown, when my life and business were really taking off. Kyle was inspired by my message of self-acceptance and personal accountability, but he was still in a pretty rough spot himself. Over $100,000 in debt with no steady job. He had made some poor financial decisions chasing get-rich-quick schemes, convinced that one big score would allow him to finally live the life he wanted. But that big win never came. And now he was drowning in bills and living off government assistance just to get by. After hearing me speak, Kyle pulled me aside, tears in his eyes. "Mr. Rohn," he said, "I want what you have so badly. That sense of taking control of your life, of forgiving yourself and just going for it. But I'm so far gone, I can't even see a way out of this mess I've created for myself." Well, friends, I gave Kyle some advice that day that I hope he's still following to this day. You have to start by making a comeback in your own mind. Apologize to yourself for the mistakes of the past and let them go. Forgive yourself fully and completely in this moment. Because as long as you're still holding on to that baggage and self-criticism, you'll never be able to move forward. I told Kyle that his past failures didn't define him unless he allowed them to. That freedom, true freedom to pursue any future he wanted, came from making peace with his mistakes first. Only then could he take decisive action with real power behind it. I don't know whatever became of Kyle after that day, but I hope he listened and made that personal apology to himself. Because until we let go of our judgments and self-criticisms, we can never realize our fullest potential. We just stay stuck, treading water, making the same self-defeating choices over and over. So that's my challenge for you today. No matter where you are in life, no matter how far you feel you have left to go, start by apologizing to yourself. Seek forgiveness not from anyone else, but from the person who matters most, you. Let go of the guilt, the shame, the embarrassment over failures or times when you didn't live up to your loftiest expectations. Those were just lessons, inevitable stumbles on the path to discovering your true power and potential. When you can make that personal apology from your heart, when you can look yourself in the mirror and say, "I forgive you for all the ways you've held yourself back," everything changes. You suddenly remember your immense inner strength, your resilience, your ability to overcome literally any obstacle once you get out of your own way. Those dreams you've buried deep down, those ambitions you've been telling yourself are impossible or not for someone like me, you'll suddenly see how very possible and attainable they are. No, not because your circumstances have changed, simply because you've changed on the inside. You've let go of the chains of self-doubt and criticism that were holding you prisoner in your own mind. With that personal apology and self-forgiveness, you unlock reserves of energy, motivation, and resilience that you never knew you had. Obstacles that once seemed insurmountable become mere speed bumps. Fears that once paralyzed you dissolve in the face of your newfound confidence. Because here's the thing, friends, you were born a winner, a powerful force of nature with the innate ability to create any reality you can envision for yourself. It's only the limiting beliefs, the harsh self-judgments, the layers upon layers of self-criticism that dim your light over time. But that internal radiance, that spark of greatness, never fully goes out. It's always there, patiently waiting for you to clear away the mental clutter and let it blaze again at full force. Making that personal apology is how you start clearing away that clutter. It's how you take back control from the inner critic who's been running your life for far too long. With those simple words of "I'm sorry" and "I forgive you," you reclaim your birthright as a limitless human being. From that moment on, anything and everything becomes possible for you. Because you're no longer fighting against yourself, constantly feeling weighed down by past mistakes and harsh self-judgments. You've made peace with who you are and who you're going to become. And let me tell you, there's no more powerful force in this world than someone who has forgiven themselves fully, someone who's let go of guilt, sheathed those self-imposed chains of "I'm not good enough." When you combine that level of radical self-acceptance with decisive action and hard work, you become unstoppable. I've seen it happen over and over again with people from all walks of life who decided they were finally ready to apologize to themselves, to draw their own personal line in the sand and say, "No more holding myself back. No more settling for less than I can realistically become." Like the 48-year-old woman who had been trapped in a soul-sucking corporate job for decades, constantly telling herself she'd missed her chance to pursue her real passion for starting a business. She came to one of my seminars, stunned by the simple power of making that personal apology to herself for staying stuck for so long. 3 months later, she walked away from that corporate hellhole and launched her own landscaping company from scratch, following her green thumb and her dreams at long last. Last I heard, just a few years after that, she had over 20 employees and was looking at a multi-million-dollar valuation for her blossoming business. Or how about the 62-year-old retiree who had spent decades following the conventional path, saving diligently for retirement, but always feeling deep down like he'd missed his true calling as an artist? One of my talks inspired him to apologize for wasting so many years listening to everyone else's ideas of what he should do with his life. He started painting every single day, studied the masters, promoting his work online and at local fairs and galleries. Within a couple of years, he was making a decent living as a full-time artist and preparing for his first big museum exhibition, 66 years old and living his wildest dreams. All because he let go of that suffocating self-criticism. The stories and life transformations I've witnessed after people have made that personal apology never ceased to amaze me. It's like watching a switch be flipped in their minds, turning them into unstoppable forces pursuing their grandest visions and desires. Because that's what forgiveness really gives us. The supreme confidence to dream bigger and bolder than we ever thought possible. Without those negative scripts playing on a constant loop, there's suddenly space for new beliefs about our immense potential to blossom and flourish. So today, if you're feeling stuck, stagnant, or just somehow not living up to your highest self, it's time to make that personal apology, to say those few simple words. "I'm sorry for judging myself so harshly all this time, for holding myself back and listening to my inner critic. But all that ends today. I forgive myself fully, and I'm ready to create my greatest life." When you can embrace yourself with that level of compassion, self-acceptance, and unconditional love, you become indestructible. No setback can keep you down for long. No failure can shake your confidence or make you question your ability to bounce back stronger than ever. Because you've made your peace with yourself. You know that anything that happens is just another lesson, another step along your path. There are no real failures, only feedback to integrate so you can course correct as needed. But that self-forgiveness, that's the prerequisite for everything. It's the catalyst, the spark that allows you to light yourself on fire with enthusiasm, vigor, and total faith in your unlimited potential. From this day forward, you get to rewrite the story of your life in whatever way you choose. It doesn't matter what chapters came before. Those can all be reframed as simply journey markers that ultimately led you here to this profound moment of self-realization and rebirth. Every morning from this point on, you get to wake up as a new person. No more negative self-talk, no more merciless judging of your ability to design the life you crave most. Just a clean slate, awaiting your boldest dreams, visions, and actions to make them real. So say it with me, Nay. I'm sorry for how harshly I've judged myself in the past. I'm sorry that I allowed my self-criticism and doubts to hold me back from my highest potential. But today, I forgive myself completely. I draw my line in the sand and declare that I am ready, willing, and more than able to create my ultimate life on my terms from this day forward. Can you feel that profound shift in energy just from saying those words out loud? That's the power of making a comeback as a personal apology to yourself. It's like you've released the emergency brake that was preventing you from accelerating towards your biggest hopes and dreams. So repeat those words to yourself as often as needed. I forgive myself, and I'm ready to go all in on creating my ultimate life. Let them wash over you and penetrate the deepest layers of your being. Sear them into your consciousness with an unshakable commitment. Because forgiveness, that unconditional self-love and self-acceptance, is the rocket fuel that will propel you to heights you can't even imagine right now. It's the X factor, the key ingredient to manifesting anything and everything your heart desires most. What happens from here is entirely up to you. With this personal apology, you've blown the doors wide open to start truly living without limits or restrictions. Will you take that first step into your grandest future today? Or will you shrink back into your comfort zone and old self-limiting patterns? The choice is yours, friends. But I hope you'll join me in choosing the path of radical self-forgiveness and relentless self-belief. Become a dynamic force of change in this world by first making peace within yourself. Apologize for the mistakes and poor choices of the past. Let them go completely, and then start taking bold, fearless action towards making your dreams a reality. Because when you combine radical self-acceptance with an unwavering commitment to constant growth and forward momentum, you become unstoppable. That's how the biggest transformations happen. Not through constant self-criticism and brutal self-judgment, but through love, compassion, and a willingness to learn from our missteps. You wouldn't constantly berate a child for making mistakes while they're learning to walk, ride a bike, or read, would you? Of course not. You'd encourage them, provide support, and celebrate every small instance of progress. So why do we so often treat ourselves with less kindness and patience than we would extend to a small child? Those dreams and goals you're working towards are no different. You're simply learning new skills, new ways of being in the world. There will be stumbles and setbacks along the way, but that's all part of the process. True self-compassion means being gentle with yourself instead of engaging in harsh self-punishments over every perceived failure or misstep. It means apologizing for the negativity and giving yourself permission to try again from a place because things only start to change in a real, lasting way when you operate from that mindset of kindness towards yourself. Too many people try to make big life changes through sheer force of will and self-discipline alone. And that may work for a little while, but eventually you'll burn out, revert back to old patterns. But when your transformation is rooted in compassion, in a genuine letting go of your past mistakes and an embracing of your present potential, that's when things really start to flow. That's when taking the next step towards your dreams gets easier and easier each day. You stop wrestling with yourself. Stop listening to those nagging voices of self-doubt and harsh criticism. And you start tuning into your deepest wisdom, your truest passions and callings. Suddenly, all those things you desperately want to accomplish start feeling lighter, simpler, more achievable than you imagined. Because that personal apology was the missing link all along. You couldn't fully unlock your inner greatness when you were still beating yourself up and carrying all that baggage from the past. But now that you've let it all go, extended that compassion and forgiveness to yourself, you can move forward unburdened, free to try new things, pivot strategies, and take calculated risks in pursuit of your ultimate vision. And let me tell you, friends, that first pivotal moment when you complete a goal or achieve something you previously thought impossible after making that personal apology, nothing compares to the rush of pride, confidence, and unstoppable momentum that accomplishment will fill you with. It's like graduating from a lifelong negative self-talk academy where everyone, including yourself, always doubted your ability to create real, lasting change. With that first big breakthrough success under your new self-compassionate mindset, you get to experience what it feels like to finally silence those voices of harsh judgment and step into your true power. That's what making a comeback through apologizing to yourself is all about. Shedding your artificially limited sense of what you're capable of achieving. Busting through the self-imposed glass ceilings you spent years constructing around your ambitions. Finally allowing yourself to be due and have everything your heart desires most. Because when you commit to constant self-acceptance, to meeting all your experiences with a spirit of openness instead of self-criticism, your life becomes a daring adventure instead of a haunting series of perceived failings and shortcomings. Every stumbling block gets reframed as a fascinating new challenge to overcome, an opportunity to get creative and innovative in finding your unique solution. That voice in your head stops saying you messed up again. You're not good enough and starts proclaiming, wow, this is going to be an amazing growth experience. I can't wait to see how capable and resourceful I can be here. When you approach life from that perspective of playful curiosity, of trusting yourself to ultimately figure things out instead of jumping straight to harsh judgments, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. So go ahead and dream even bigger after making that crucial personal apology and commitment to self-love. Give yourself permission to believe in your wildest ambitions, no matter how far-fetched they may seem through your old, limited lens of self-doubt and criticism. Want to change careers and launch that business you've been putting off for years? Give yourself the green light and go for it. There's nothing stopping you except those lingering traces of fear and self-judgment you just released. Always dreamed of writing a book, a play, or any other creative pursuit. Start showing up for yourself and putting in the work. You owe it to yourself to finally share your unique gifts. Longing for a new romance after the last one didn't work out. Release your past guilts and make space to manifest your ideal partner aligned with your growth mindset. Aspiring to see the world and cross off bucket list destinations? Book those flights, renew that passport. You've already taken the biggest first step in forgiving yourself and believing that you deserve everything you desire. Friends, there's no mythical, perfect version of yourself that you need to become before taking those leaps. The perfectionist mindset will only breed more self-criticism, more harsh judgments that keep you stuck in cycles of anxiety and underachieving. By apologizing to yourself, forgiving your inconsistencies and shortcomings, you free yourself from that unrealistic prison of constant striving without ever feeling good enough. You make peace with the fact that you're a human being having unique experiences, not a flawless machine that needs to operate with robotic precision. And from that grounded, compassionate place of being fully at home with yourself, you gain the unwavering courage and confidence to actually start living as you've always dreamed. Not next week, not next month, or whenever the conditions feel just right. Right here, right now. You get to break free from that cycle of postponing your biggest ambitions because of ingrained feelings of unworthiness and self-imposed limitations. So if you're ready to make that personal comeback, it all starts with 3 simple words. I say them out loud right now and feel their power rippling through your entire body. I forgive myself for all the ways I've judged myself too harshly in the past. All the dreams and ambitions I've shelved because of self-doubt. All the negative self-talk and criticism that limited my sense of what's possible. As of this moment, I extend the deepest love, compassion, and acceptance to myself and my journey so far. I apologize for abandoning my own support, and I vow to become my biggest believer and most supportive ally. I'm ready to show up for myself and my dreams in a huge way. Starting today, I'm making my personal comeback by giving myself permission to create my ultimate life. I am limitless, and I will no longer limit myself. Let those words marinate and sink into the deepest levels of your subconscious mind. Let them be the rallying cry, the battle hymn of your personal rebirth, of you reclaiming your power and infinite potential. Because that's what that personal comeback is ultimately about. You rediscovering and reawakening to the unstoppable force you were before fear, doubt, and harsh self-judgments convinced you to play small. You were born with a fire in your heart and the natural ability to co-create anything you can envision for yourself. That fire is still burning. That spark of greatness always remains. It simply got dampened and obscured by layers of limiting beliefs and self-criticism over time. But no more. With this personal apology, this declaration of radical self-forgiveness, you've begun clearing away those layers of mental and emotional clutter. You're allowing that brilliant inner light to burn brighter with each passing day as you continue treating yourself with gentle compassion and non-judgmental acceptance. From this point forward, you get to show up for every aspect of your life from that unshakable foundation of self-love and deep inner confidence. No more hesitating, second-guessing, or holding yourself back because you don't feel good enough. You've extended that unconditional forgiveness to yourself, released the guilt and shame of the past. And in doing so, you're rediscovering the truth of who you really are at your core, someone absolutely worthy and deserving of achieving every dream and aspiration you can fathom.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to help others grow. And stay tuned to Jim Rohn's Speech for daily motivation and wisdom.